speaker for today is Olivia Tierney, and she will talk about the quality assurance engineering internship about her job at Comcast.
So this summer, I interned at Comcast. Probably have heard of it, probably pay an outrageous cable bill for them. I worked at the Downingtown office, which is the center for testing and quality assurance. I did go down to Philly for a lot of their intern events and a few big meetings, but I was mainly in Downingtown. So, what is a QA intern or a quality assurance intern? So I worked in quality assurance for VOD, video on demand, focusing on demand, so video streaming, ensuring audio works correctly, and that the content is streamed to the correct sponsored channel. So the quality assurance does most of the tests for this, and a lot of the testing has been migrating from manual testing to automated testing. So my main project was on this this automation, and we used a software platform called Fitness, which you can integrate Java code into wiki pages and create pass-fail tests. And it's a free download, which is why they had us using it. It was free. And the main goal was to customize the software so that all the teams in video on demand could use this software for their tests. And ideally, the tests would run overnight, and the results would be emailed to the workers by like 6 o'clock in the morning, so they could plan their day's work according to the test results. So if a test failed, they would have to go ahead and start the debugging process. So coursework, or things that I learned here at Ursinus that I used. One of the tasks that was set out for me was to manage the memory that of the fitness database that it held. So every time we did updates, they would create a new jar file to the database, and when I got there, the database was close to 95% full. So I had to work on managing the memory. So my boss said that they just want the jar files from the end of each month, which coincides with the work that we completed in a single sprint. We did month-long development sprint processes. So I ended up implementing a batch file on the database that ran at the end of each month, and scheduled it to run at the end of each month with Windows Task Filer. So the batch filer just parsed through all the jar files and saved the ones from the end of each month using just the end of each month, yeah. So Java code, so I worked with Java a lot, and the code that was used in the fitness software was Java. I didn't end up writing too much code. I was mainly testing it. A lot of our coding was written by offshore teams, and they sent it to me, and I had to make sure it ran correctly and did its proper process. One thing that ended up happening a lot for the team was the offshore team would sometimes complete work that wasn't completely aligned with the project goals. So I had to create a hook within our repository so that each time an offshore team tried to upload their work, it had to coincide with a task. So all of our tasks were numbered, and it had to coincide with the task number. And a big thing that I haven't learned in a single class at Ursinus, but probably throughout my entire college career, is an eye for detail. Quality assurance requires an extreme eye for detail, and it makes you very attentive, and it's very useful in testing the software and reporting the bugs in the software that the team develops. So things that I did learn, I haven't taken a database class, but a lot of the tests that I created had to run SQL, SQL queries. So my boss told me to learn SQL, so I started by going on Khan Academy. And they actually have a nice SQL Lite forum where you can practice your queries. And so then I was able to implement tests using a Java code fixture that allowed us to run SQL queries within these wiki pages. Cloud management, which was a lot of the storage of the files were being stored on the cloud, so I had to learn how to integrate some of that. The Agile and Kanban development processes is processes that a lot of software engineers use. And we use month-long sprints, so at the beginning of each month, the team would set aside time and go through all of the tasks that we wanted to complete in this 1 month. And it would move through certain stages, so we would work on fleshing out the task, then it would get reviewed, then it would get tested, and then it would be completed. And I did learn a lot in Excel. While I was there, the quality assurance sector was going through a new budgeting process, and the first step of the new budgeting process was determining the cost to just keep the team working, make everyone's salaries, make the electricity bill, things like that. So our boss told me to go into Salesforce, which is a financial database that they used. I pulled this giant Excel file, and I had to go through it and find some useful information in it. So I learned how to use pivot tables in Excel to put information that's useful to my boss and my boss's boss, so that they can start creating this new budgeting process. And that's about it. The internship was pretty good. I highly recommend it. And that's it. So my thanks to Dr. K for setting this up, Akshay for being my advisor, and everyone that was on my team and my bosses at Comcast. And that's it. Any questions? Yeah.
How did you like the environment, like your company and stuff?
The environment in the office in Downingtown was a lot different than the environment in the office in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a little bit more focused on innovation. That's where the heavy hitters of the company work. The Downingtown office, some of the quality assurance, the manual testing doesn't involve college degrees. So a lot of these people, not the team that I was working on, but the manual testers, a lot of them didn't necessarily have degrees. It's much more laxed, lack of creativity. If I were to go back, I'd want to be in a different office that had a slightly different environment. Yeah.
Was it tough? Because just like listening to your presentation, it seems like you use SQL and you just did like a whole bunch of different stuff. You weren't really focused on one thing. Was that tough as like an intern to like doing? Just seems like you did a lot rather than just like kind of focus on like one, like look at some code in like one language and fix it. And then
Yeah. So what I said with the agile development process.
Yeah.
So they gave me. We used Rally. I don't know if you use it. It's like this software that you can organize your tasks on, and they would assign me like a few tasks, and they were short.
Yeah.
So like I had maybe half a day to work on the batch file that saved the memory, and so I didn't necessarily have like one big project. It was just make progress on this automation project and do some odds and ends. The budgeting thing wasn't supposed to be my task, but I told my boss I had a finance minor, so then he threw it on me. So yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
So it seems like okay, and I might just use the wrong language here. It seems like there's like a lot of different programs that maybe you might not have learned while you were here that you had to adapt to or figure out.
Yeah.
How was that for you? How was that learning curve? Was there someone there to help you, or was it kind of like
It was hard.
here's your day, figure it out?
My boss, or the team lead, was very irritable, and so I was given like 2 questions a day, which is not a lot. So like sometimes, I remember I was working on something and I was like, well, how do I do this? He said, look at the expectation documents. And well, where are the expectation documents? He was like, do you really want to use your second question on that? So it's like, no. So I couldn't find the expectation documents because there's like a million acronyms. It's a huge corporation. There's just stuff everywhere. So I just did the project in a way that I thought was organized and cohesive. And he was like, well, this doesn't meet the expectation documents. So I was like, well, I'm going to use my question on where the expectation documents are now. So, I mean, it was hard. It's a lot of, like, sometimes if you don't have a task, you just need to go and try to find information and find where they store these things. Because there's just a lot of things to parse through. So, yeah.
And was that at both offices? Because you said you were at two.
Oh, well, I was in Philadelphia basically for big meetings.
Okay.
And then so they'd have like a resume mania for all interns and innovation convention, and I was there for that. So, yeah. Anything else? Okay.
Thank you.